Hello and welcome to Women Achievers. This is a program that chronicles the story of the girl child who becomes a boss lady. It's about the journey of womanhood. And today on the program we have a very special person, the person of Ambassador Zainab Mohammed, a social change advocate. In due course we know about the advocacy she's been doing. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And I'm still my humble self, Mayowa Oluwabi. So tell us about your growing up. What was your girl child experience?
Interesting. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here this morning with you and to talk about me for the first time. My growing up, I had a beautiful and lovely parents. My dad was in the military, so growing up was in the barracks. And that means from one barrack to another. So I didn't really grow up like 2-3 years in one state or in one barrack. We're all over the place. But my childhood was beautiful because typical barrack girl child, that was who I was.
So you had a lot of playmates?
Sure, I do.
But what significant experience can you recall that shaped the way, the kind of adult you became?
I think my mother. Okay. She's a home builder and she's a disciplinarian to the core. And we have an open relationship in our house because my dad is somebody who will listen to you, who comes home and talk about things. So funny enough, I think being a teenage girl and having a very strict-handed mother, bless her soul, she passed on 3 years ago, but that shaped me from an early stage. And then being able to have an open conversation with my father is one other thing I'm so grateful to today. So growing up in a very disciplined home and things is an amazing thing, and it has shaped who I am today. Because sometimes you look back and there are some things that you thought was overhanded parental upbringing, but it's shaping who you are today. And I still think about those days with keen interest, and it's with very beautiful nostalgia growing up. It was a lovely home. Every time we had full house at all given time because of cousins, nieces, and extended family. I come from a very big extended family, but it was a one family kind of thing. So.
Okay, what schools did you attend?
Different schools, different Command Secondary School. No, I didn't go to Command Secondary School. I went to Soba Zaria for my secondary school. But my primary school was all from one barrack to another. Of course, as your dad is being moved from one state to another, you follow the same suit and do that.
And your university education?
Was not here.
Okay.
It was in Britain.
Okay, and your discipline?
I read psychology. So I think that molds me a bit in the way I think.
The psychological thing. What were you thinking of when you went to read psychology?
Actually, growing up, everybody wanted to be a medical doctor or something growing up. And I got married at the early age of 19, just leaving school. After leaving secondary school, I went to do my A-levels in Plateau Schools of Accountancy and Management Study, SAMS in Jos. And from there, at the age of 19, I got married and left this country. Being in another part of the world I had to grow up because I have to manage my home. I'm not under parental care. I'm now an adult. And decision has to, priority change your decisions. And so that's basically what changed my thought from being, you all grow up, you want to be a medical doctor, and being in a society where there was no parental care, just a young teenage girl straight from her parental home into a marriage and adulthood by force.
And I hope it wasn't the military man you married.
No, it wasn't. I married a friend of mine. So we were friends, and so it was a bit easier that way. And we were able to talk about things, and that was able to shape the decision I made in life at that early stage.
Okay. So after psychology, what did you do next?
Well, I practiced. I worked in London for a while, for over 18, 19 years. After my stint for about 18, 19 years working in social services at different sectors of the social services, I came back to Nigeria in 2010, 2011, and I had a stint working as an essay to a then serving governor of my state, essay on rural women. And well, we left government in 2012. Then I set up Partnership for Rural Women Development. It's a non-governmental organization that caters and then reshapes the way we think about rural women. We're trying to be the link between rural women policymakers and educating rural women. We have 4 thematic areas in that Partnership for Rural Women Development: the empowerment of rural women, the girl-child education. And when we talk about girl-child education, it's not the normal kind of girl-child education. We're looking at rural setting where priorities are given to young boys rather than the girls to go to school. So what we want to do, or what we're doing, is to advocate with parents. If you are a mother and the reason you are not making your girl child go to school is because they are helping you sell things in the morning, why can't we work for them to go to afternoon daytime school, which was a norm in those days? And some parents were quite happy with that. So if a girl child
is having child abuse, why were you enabling child abuse?
No, we're not enabling child abuse. If that's the only way that home can be together, is the girl child is not missing in her education. If you sell things in the afternoon as a mother, then your girl child should go to school in the morning, come back in the afternoon and help you with whatever it is you're doing. But because when you go in and start saying, girl, it's child abuse, your child should not do this, hell no. We have to look at the tradition, the culture as well. Once you say that, then it's a no-no for you, advocate, coming in to talk about those things. They will not even give you the opportunity to sit down with them and educate them on the best way to handle situations like that, because they thought you are.
Because there was a governor who was insisting, or even arresting parents, who send their ward or children to hawk or to do many other things when they should be in school.
Well, hawking for me is a no-no, because the danger and the risk to it is very high. But when I'm talking about girl child helping their mother, most of these women sometimes fry things by the road, do things, and then need the girl child to help. There's nothing wrong with your young boys doing it, because I know a lot of parents, their male child works like a girl as well.
Yes.
But when we're talking about traditional setting and cultural setting, this is already a no-no for a young man to be a young boy to be seen doing feminine work, because there is something tagged as a feminine tax. In the Western world today, we know a lot of those jobs we think is women's job back here. Men are becoming Michelin, 5-star Michelin as caterers and food vendors in other parts. But you need to be able to understand people's setup and to go in with respect of their culture and tradition when you are advocating for any change. And you tell them what they stand to benefit. So if you say you fry akara or yam in the morning, or you sell food as a vendor in the morning, and you need your girl child to be with you, then there's nothing stopping that. But as long as in the afternoon she goes to catch up with her basic educational needs. So that is what we're advocating in terms of girl child. Then we talk about preventative in healthcare. We have a thematic area in the health, and we do preventative, just basic things. Malaria is still ravishing Africa today, Nigeria. And basic thing that we talk about in preventative rather than curative is, how is our environment? Some people, you go to some neighborhood, they use tire as environmental protection, of planting flowers in their tires, putting, we went to a school, let me just give you this classic case study. We went to a school, and it was a tire they used in demarcating their schools from the general public, from people from parking. And every time there's a raining season, or people will even come and pee there, this was collecting inside the tube of the tire.
So that was their perimeter fence?
Yes. Fine. So that's why I'm using a case study of a classic case study, and this is everywhere. In fact, in some of the urban setting, you see them use tire and then plant flowers in the tire. But what we're actually teaching them is you can use that, but cut the hole so that there is no water, no stagnant water inside that tube. It's that stagnant water that mosquito breeds. So there is no point in you taking malaria drugs on a monthly basis and you are not curing. you are keeping a place where malaria grows on a daily basis. So basically, that's what Partnership for Rural Women Development does. We keep advocating, we keep talking, and we'll continue to do that in terms of saying a better society that we all yearn for.
Okay. So what was your experience like working in the social services in the UK?
Interesting.
You haven't shared that experience?
Yeah, because that will take us the next 1 year to do that.
Not to be a summary.
No, but that's 18 years of my life in a profession that I cannot just sum it up for you in 5-10 minutes because of wanting of time. But this is beautiful. I started with the special needs in a Jewish setting. So whilst you're there, you start learning other culture and tradition as well. These are special needs because there's a lot of intermarriage in the Jewish families and set up community, and then a lot of offspring comes out with a lot of disability, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, different birth defect that comes from intermarrying with close relations and things. So
are there results of intermarriages?
70%, yes.
Down syndrome?
No.
Cerebral palsy?
Some childbirth defects, yeah. Wow. But that was very high.
That's new. In the Jewish setting?
Yeah. Okay. So that was my first experience, and it was interesting. So we started learning special need housing. I went to study that as well. So that
special need housing?
Yeah, because you have people who are on wheelchairs, somebody who is bedridden, somebody different disability and different needs. So of course you have to learn special needs housing in terms of how do you provide housing, what are the spaces you need in a toilet setting. You sit down with the engineer and the architect and they tell you, because as you grow from a child into adulthood, your wheelchair and your needs changes, so your house must be adaptable. Do you get? So that's why I'm telling you, 18 years of experience is a lot for me to start having that conversation. But we can do that some other time, because we need people. Because I saw a clip yesterday on one of the social media, a young lady who had 2 kids. One has cerebral palsy, who is wheelchair bound, and one has Down syndrome, a young girl, very beautiful black young girl. I saw the clip. But you see, these are things that we need to start talking about in our society today. In her house, she needs a special needs person to go in, do an adaptation for that young boy who is growing up and for the young girl who is coming up. And as a Down syndrome, you need some color setting in your house and things. Those are things that we need to talk about. And it's not, today we'll not be able to, we'll not be able to do that, but we'll be able to identify issues, and then we proffer solutions or proffer the way forward for some of these parents in Africa today.
The present time, your gender advocates, the National Assembly just killed our morale. Not even a single bill was passed for women. Why? How did we get here?
You're asking me why? I'm glad you're a black woman and a Nigerian, Maywa. We know the way our men think when it comes to the issues around women in our society today. No matter how educated they are, how experienced they are, how traveled they are, when it comes down to the basic, bring it down home, there's this holding back.
For the men?
From the men, yeah, of course. And we've seen what happened. Are you telling me that everybody at the National Assembly is not experience. I'll take you back to a few years ago, just about 2-3 years ago, I think before the pandemic. One of the very, very outspoken member of the National Assembly, in the presence of Honorable, he's from Jigawa.
Okay, that brought his wife and...
No, not the one with the wife, that's not...
Wives.
Wives. But this young man, who is the Honorable, I think he's in House of Rep, made mention when the first issue about women inclusiveness came up and said he's scared when we give women space, they will all come here and take over the space. So you can imagine that statement from somebody who is representing his constituency. And at that moment, because he's more like a comedian, everybody laughed over it. But that was the thinking of 99% of the people in the National Assembly on the 1st of March. What I say is, you know, sometimes there's so many motivational speakers who will tell you things, you read it and said you can never apply it because it won't work. You know, one of them is like, don't stop and pick the stones and throw back. Pick up the stones and build something from it. I appreciate all the sisters who are out there since the 1st of March, occupying us and talking about it. What I said is we go back to the drawing table. The same National Assembly, for selfishness and greed, decided to vote for independent candidacy. So, Nigerian women, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's pick up independent candidacy. And then do a lot of awareness program for women to only vote women. If in this constituency a woman comes out, she's credible, she's profiled to be able to manage that office, then we'll all support her. We need to start having that conversation now. Nigerian women, and to everybody, is we need to use the current Minister of Women Affairs. She's the mouthpiece for women. She's doing absolutely an amazing work in terms of making sure that women's voices are heard and inclusiveness in governance. We need to go and start profiling women. So women, we need to identify any political woman who wants to come out to vie for any political position. We profile her. She has the credibility. We look at her antecedents. She's able to carry people along. She's not playing somebody's script, because that's what will happen. We know that. Some of these men will use another woman to play a script out for us. So that's why I come in with, we need to profile these women. We need to be sure that they will be able to hold that office. And then we stand behind them, come rain, come shine, to ensure that they get into that position.
Okay. Let me ask you about the APC Women Conference. Sure. It was an epochal event. It was new, it's revolutionary. We've never had that kind of gathering. For me, I don't think it was even about APC, because the whole of the women in Nigeria thronged the venue. They were overwhelmed. What do you take from that conference?
Like you said, it's an epoch event, and we should capitalize on it, because a lot of statement was made that day. The same men who threw out our bills were at that event and gave us their word and support. And just prior to the bills being thrown out from the conference, the APC Women Conference, the president's wife and other notable women in our society today actually took their advocacy to the National Assembly. So for me, there are a lot of outcome from that APC Women Conference, and we need to start dissecting them one after the other and ensure that it comes to be. That's just it. So I'm an APC woman.
Okay.
But this is not just about APC women anymore. Yes. This is about the Nigerian women and girls. So all the women leaders from both APC, PDP, APGA, I think there are new parties. If I'm not, let me not get it right, but about 16, 17 party has been approved by INEC that they will go for that. I think all the national women leaders on that platform need to come and open a dialogue conversation. It's not about them, it's not about the party, it's about women in governance. That's what it's all about.
All right, we'll take you up on a subsequent edition. What's your advice to the girl child? Growing up in this environment shaped by cultural limitations.
I don't think our girls are shaped by cultural limitation. Well, our problem right now in the 21st century is the social media.
Okay.
And for the parents of this generation, we need to tweak as quickly as possible to get involved in what our girl and the young boys, because they are the tomorrow's future. We need to start knowing what our children are doing. I'll say it again and again. We have a problem. Our generation is failing the next generation because we are too busy not creating time for our kids. And once we create the time, we are watching things that are dysfunctional. The Z word, the telemundo. Every home you go to, parents, our mothers today spend more time watching those dysfunctional setting. What are we teaching our kids?
And also being on the social media too.
And also being on this, I think we had this conversation a few weeks ago, and I was like, everybody is scared of 666, but 666 is TikTok.
It's TikTok.
Sure. We think 666 is the devil coming with a horn, with this, with that, with this and all that. But have you seen lately what, quote and unquote, responsible women, mothers, wives, sisters, girlfriends do on TikTok videos? That is like a whole avenue for reeling out all this dysfunctional home setting program. We need to go back to family values. We need to start looking at what have we lost. How were we brought up? I think we started by how I was brought up, how my mom was disciplined, and how she handled her
And your dad was a listener.
Was a listener. But that shaped who I am today. So, you know, we need to find ways of bringing up the next generation of kids.
We're not raising them anymore.
We're not raising them. Social media is raising them for us. And in that aspect, the kids are losing family values. And family values, we are people with culture and tradition. We must bring back our family value. And the responsibility is you, me, and the younger generation, the mothers of today. For the younger generation, talk to your parents if you're worried. And for the mothers of today's generation, wake up to your duties. We need to bring back the family values.
Well, on that note, we'll sign out today on Women Achievers. And we've been discussing with Ambassador Zainab Mohammed. Thank you for coming on to the program.
You're welcome.
I'm sure there'll be a sequel because there's more to talk about.
I'm happy. And we need to do it.